CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Evan Kenny.
I'm looking for the city to have as many tools in their toolkit as they can to respond to our snow removal challenges.
A controversial chemical could be making its way back onto Edmonton roads. Edmonton City Council is considering all options. Good evening. Calcium chloride could be coming back to the streets of Edmonton. City Hall decided to stop using the chemical years ago due to environmental and infrastructure concerns. One chemical engineer says bringing the controversial compound back isn't the solution to this winter's snow clearing problems. CTV's Connor Hogg reports.
This is kind of an example of road salt and stuff sits in here and then starts to eat away the whole body, like this one here.
Don Meister has worked on cars for decades. He's seen what road salts can do to vehicles. He says he's seen less damage since the city switched to sodium chloride instead of calcium chloride.
Still, salt is salt, right? It's gonna do its thing.
But some say it doesn't melt snow as well as the old stuff, which is why Councillor John Morgan is ready to reopen the debate about calcium chloride.
I'm looking for the city to have as many tools in their toolkit as they can to respond to our snow removal challenges.
Morgan made a motion to reintroduce the controversial compound Council voted to stop using in 2019 due to concerns over its impact on undercarriages and the environment. Right now, the city only uses it on bike lanes and sidewalks. The province also uses the compound on the Anthony Henday.
The original test, from my understanding, was a much more concentrated solution than what I would like to see on our roads.
In the time since this was last looked at in detail, the chemistry hasn't changed.
Chemical engineer Arthur Potts says the city needs to expand the scope of its studies before starting to use calcium chloride again.
It was a liquid spread. It goes much more into crevices and other areas. When you start to look at kind of environmental impacts, you look at how invasive it can be and therefore the impacts of that.
Back at Buddy's garage, Meister says the best way to make sure salt doesn't eat away at your vehicle is to wash it regularly, using a pressure hose to get inside the wheel wells and other spots where salt collects. Still, he says many of the vehicles he's seen lately had more issues with road ruts.
I fixed a panel one day. The very next day, going out of his driveway, down his back alley, he ripped the other side off. I mean, that has nothing to do with the salt. That's just ruddy, terrible roads.
Morgan says he's waiting for city administration to bring forward its ideas. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
A new South Edmonton neighborhood is taking shape, one being built up instead of out. City Council has laid the groundwork for dense development around the Century Park Transit Center, a new neighborhood that will be privately owned, including the road network. CTV's Jeremy Thompson reports.
In the 15 years since the Century Park LRT station opened, this land to the east has mostly been used for park and ride, but it was always intended to be temporary.
The plan for Century Park has gone through 3 or 4 or 5 different iterations about what it's going to be or not, and 2 market crashes, and now we're really seeing some serious movement down there.
K&H Developments plans to turn the area into a dense neighborhood. Preliminary renderings show a dozen residential towers with retail at street level. The developer is requesting special zoning rules from the city to make building multiple towers easier.
Without the approval today, I think we would struggle to take another step.
Council had questions about bike routes and parking, with the bulk of Tuesday's discussion focused on the neighborhood's future Main Street. The top image is the initial design, pedestrian-focused with no parking, wide sidewalks, and driving lanes shared with bicycles. The bottom image is the new design, one the planner says will allow businesses to thrive.
It really helps leasing when they can rely on great visibility of parking right on the street itself.
The gut when I looked at this was like, WTF.
As a housing advocate, Jacob DeWang welcomes the density next to transit, but he told council the new Main Street misses the mark.
Pedestrian-oriented retail streets are nicer to be in. They are more successful and more vibrant.
Ultimately, council approved the new zoning, including the design that adds parking to the main street.
We can't mandate that someone spends millions of dollars to build something that we would like to see. We have to work with a proponent to see what is possible.
Full development will take years. The city estimates between 6,000 and 8,000 people will eventually live here. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Edmonton is adding more than 30 new LRT cars to its fleet. The city has signed a deal with Hyundai Rotem company for 32 new light rail vehicles. The contract is worth roughly $300 million. Production will begin this year, with the cars expected to be in Edmonton in 2029 and 2030. The city says it requires new light rail vehicles for Edmonton's expanding LRT network to move people quickly and efficiently.
Because we're expanding the Capital Line and adding stations, and because we expanded the Metro Line north into Blatchford and added stations there, we need more vehicles to provide that capacity that the system needs.
These cars will only run on the Capital and Metro lines. The city and HRC signed a contract in 2021 for 46 cars for the Valley Line West LRT project. A small Alberta town is reeling after the death of 3 young hockey players. They died yesterday on their way to practice when the car they were in collided with a gravel truck. The 3 players played for the Southern Alberta Mustangs in Stavely. JJ Wright was 18 years old, a left winger from Kamloops. Cameron Casaroso, also 18, was born in Calgary before moving to Kamloops. He was a goalie, and Caden Fine was 17. He was from Alabama and moved to Alberta to play hockey. CTV's Tyson Fedor reports.
22, 32, and 15. 3 jersey numbers representing 3 teenagers, all killed in a crash Monday near Stavely.
I know there are no words that can make this loss less brutal. Your sons mattered.
JJ Wright, Cameron Casorso, and Caden Fine, all players on that team. Their jerseys draped over the side of a table, sticks laid out, and their pictures a painful reminder of what has been lost.
It broke my heart. I just felt like something was pulling me here, that I needed to be here just to pay my respects.
Karen Dubois dropped off flowers and a candle at a memorial outside the Stavely Arena. It's the home of the Southern Alberta Mustangs, a junior hockey team playing its inaugural season in the United States Premier Hockey League. A drive to practice for the 3 players Monday morning turned deadly. They attempted to cross Highway 2 into Stavely at 55th Avenue. That's when they were struck by a semi-truck hauling gravel. Their car pushed into a ditch. All that remains are tire tracks and a broken light pole. The speed limit on this stretch of highway, 110 kilometers per hour.
At this point in the investigation, we don't believe there was anything criminal involved. And since 2019, we have a report of 3 injury collisions at that exact intersection. And from that time in 2019, 2 fatality collisions.
Stavely has a population of a little more than 500 people.
I was speechless for a while. What goes through your mind is the families, how it's going to affect these families.
This community celebrates around hockey, and Nanton's mayor was emotional as this tragedy hits close to home. She too is a billet mom to players on this team.
We don't just host these boys. They become a part of our homes. Another plate at the table, another pair of skates by the door, another son.
Following the day's news conference, the Mustangs and family members have asked for privacy as they navigate the days ahead. Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Stavely.
A plan to add doctors to emergency rooms to help triage patients has been delayed. Hospitals Minister Matt Jones announced the role last month. It came after a man died after he waited hours for care at the Grey Nuns emergency room. The program was supposed to start over the weekend. The head of the Alberta Medical Association says doctors want to participate. He says there are issues to be worked out, including pay, billing, liability, and paperwork. A spokesperson for the minister says it continues to work with the AMA. He says work to recruit for the role is ongoing. After the Royal Alexandra Hospital's midwifery program was moved out of the city, some support is returning. The president of the Alberta Association of Midwives says it was able to work with the province to keep a reduced version of the program active for now. The program moved to Fort Saskatchewan Community Hospital last month. The new program is set to open next week. It used to provide support around the clock. It will now cover 12-hour day shifts 7 days a week.
The shifts will now just be covered by either midwives who used to work for that in-house midwifery program or other community midwives who are able to do shift work in addition to their community caseload. But it hasn't changed the number of midwives that are in the area.
There are 56 active registered midwives in Edmonton. The PCA said the number of midwives in Edmonton area has increased by 40% in the last 4 years. The UCP government says Albertans should expect the upcoming budget to reflect the reality of a more difficult fiscal environment. The government's budget will come down on February 26th. In a press release, it says lower than anticipated oil prices and an increasing population is putting a strain on Alberta's finances. The last fiscal update in November showed the province is in a $6.4 billion deficit, again due to lower revenue from non-renewable resources. Premier Danielle Smith believes the province should have more input on judicial appointments. Smith wants changes made to the appointment process at the Alberta Court of King's Bench, the Alberta Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court of Canada. To fill vacancies, Smith wants to see a special advisory committee created that would consist of 2 people recommended by the province. She says Alberta will withhold funding to support new appointments until its input is allowed. There are currently 3 vacancies on the Alberta Court of King's Bench. Canadians are sitting on $2 billion worth of uncashed government checks. Documents recently tabled in Parliament show almost 4 million paper checks were issued to Canadians over the past 4 fiscal years and remain uncashed. The checks were various tax refunds, pension checks, and other CRA benefits. The administrative cost for the government to issue a check is about $1.83. That means issuing the 121 million checks mailed out from April 2022 to September 2025 likely cost taxpayers about $222 million. A man from Edmonton is recovering after a stranger broke into his home and stabbed him early this morning. Police say it happened near 113th Street and 73rd Avenue just before 6:30. The attacker left before police arrived. The victim was taken to hospital with injuries. He was the only one in the home at the time. RCMP have charged a man after a tractor was stolen from a Cold Lake First Nation. RCMP say officers found the tractor while it was being driven away. The driver was able to evade police. They eventually tracked it into a field where it was stuck. RCMP arrested and charged a 38-year-old man. Police say the tractor is worth about $50,000. Ahead of tonight's Edmonton Oilers game, Connor McDavid wrote about his want to win. Connor McDavid wrote an article in the Players Tribune. He goes on to write, "I want to be remembered as a winner, but not just anywhere, here. And it's just the game that I love. Ever since I was a kid, it's been the same feeling." He also comments on his excitement to represent Canada at the Olympics. Speaking to the media before tonight's game, he reflected on his time this summer at Canada's orientation camp.
Just gives you the sense of being a part of something bigger than just your team or just yourself. When you get all 3 Canadian teams together like that, talking about what we want to do over there. That's exciting for sure.
Men's Olympic hockey starts next week while the Canadian women's team plays this Thursday. The opening ceremonies take place Friday. Coming up next, record-breaking production. How many barrels of oil Alberta's oil industry sold last year? Also just ahead, how one business is helping cut down food waste by selling some odd-looking vegetables.
Perfectly good to eat, but maybe just doesn't look perfect.
Good evening, folks. It was a warm one today, but tomorrow should be even warmer as we take a run at a record high for February 4th. Mild temperatures going to stick around for the rest of this week. We'll talk more about that. Chances for rain and freezing rain in parts of the province overnight tonight in just a few minutes.
A food delivery service that sells misshapen produce at a discount is expanding across the Edmonton area. CTV's Miriam Valdez-Carletti has more.
Workers at Odd Bunch are busy packing orders at their new warehouse in Edmonton.
Really does help us stay very rooted to the local community. Helps us get orders out to both Edmonton and Calgary. So it's been a game changer for us.
Odd Bunch is an online food delivery service that sells imperfect produce from farmers and growers, food that's often turned away from the grocery store.
So this could be an undersized apple, it could be a misshapen pepper, perfectly good to eat, but maybe just doesn't look perfect.
Part of the company's mission is to reduce food waste. According to Second Harvest Canada, more than 46% of food in Canada is wasted every year. Avoidable food waste makes up nearly 42% of that wasted food.
Sometimes companies will default to the easy route, which is sending it to landfill, right? And that's the worst outcome for food that really deserves to be eaten.
While these fruits and vegetables might not be good enough for the shelves, they're still good for you.
The nutrition for fruits and vegetables, they depend more on things like the soil quality, like weather and other growing conditions.
This registered dietitian and associate professor at Toronto Metropolitan University says the concept is a great way to create access to healthier choices. The selection of produce changes with every delivery.
You'll have some exotic items, like this week we had fennel, or we had yellow zucchini.
We can get stuck in like a lot of the things that we're typically used to eating, so trying different foods, different flavors, and experimenting can help us change our dietary habits.
Less food waste means more food on your plate and money in your pocket. Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
2025 was an up and down year for oil prices, but that didn't slow production in Alberta's booming industry. The Alberta Energy Regulator says a new production record was set last year. CTV's Tim Brook reports.
The work in Alberta's oil sands was relentless in 2025, and global markets are taking notice.
People are paying attention now to the Canadian oil sector as a viable investment play.
Helped along by increasing Asian demand, production in the province last year averaged 4.1 million barrels per day, about 4.2% higher than in 2024. It's a new record.
People have been waiting to have market access, and when TMX started with 600,000 barrels a day of additional capacity, that made it easier for companies to turn up the screws a little bit and get more production out of existing projects.
And the expansion isn't done yet. South Bow has signaled it would like to grow, and Enbridge and Trans Mountain will add capacity soon. The latter helped along by the provincial governments in Alberta and British Columbia. Still, experts believe more is needed.
We'll eventually run into a situation where we just won't have sufficient pipeline capacity again. We don't know exactly when that's going to be, like the late 2020s or early 2030s.
Unsurprisingly, Alberta's energy minister agrees. He tells us the province needs to increase capacity and build new pipelines to avoid bottlenecks in the system, which will hurt the value of our oil and trading confidence in our ability to deliver. Value is already on a lot of minds. Right now, WTI sits around $63.50 a barrel. The current budget forecast for $68. So, come February 26th, most say to expect the new provincial budget to have even more bad news.
There's so many projects that are mature and are at payout now, but when prices go down, it can have a big impact.
An impact the province hopes is softened by another strong production year and perhaps more federal help. Tim Brook, CTV News, Calgary.
Young people now have the opportunity to get hands-on trades experience to see if it's the right fit for them. Red Deer Polytechnic has opened its new Central Alberta Learning Space. It can accommodate more than 550 students a year. Areas on campus were renovated to provide them with more hands-on opportunities at a younger age. The school says the space ensures equal access to students across Central Alberta.
And if we don't encourage students to explore those career opportunities and help them build the necessary skills and develop the confidence in order to enter those skilled trades areas, then we're going to run into a situation where the productivity of the country is going to go down because there's not going to be a workforce to handle the pieces that need to be done.
RDP says there continues to be a growing need for more skilled tradespeople in the province as retirements loom over the coming years.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Welcome back. Just slightly below zero early this morning. Dropped to -1. That's actually 3 degrees above the average high for this time of year. 12 degrees above average and just off the record for today. We get to 8 degrees this afternoon. Should get to about 11 tomorrow. And the record for tomorrow was 9, so that will likely fall. Here's your freezing rain and snow across northeastern Alberta. You've got shower. The good news as the showers track off to the southeast is that temperatures in most areas are staying above zero. So for most areas, it's not going to be freezing rain. It'll just be some scattered showers. That's all gone by the morning commute tomorrow. And after some sun in the first half of the day, we'll get some increasing cloud in the afternoon. Looks like late tomorrow night, early Thursday morning, you might see another patch of some freezing rain or some wet snow in northeastern Alberta. -4 Fort McMurray tomorrow morning, as well as Cold Lake. We'll be around +4 tomorrow morning here in the city. 3s for Red Deer and Grand Prairie. Grand Prairie, you get back a handful of degrees above zero tomorrow. Double digits in Edson, close to 10 as well in Whitecourt, and about 6 degrees in Fort McMurray and Cold Lake. Highs of 8 for Lloydminster Coronation. Red Deer into double digits. Jasper into double digits. And here in Edmonton into double digits. High of about 11 degrees tomorrow. The record 9.4 from 1991. 9 degrees on Thursday. It doesn't look like that'll be a record. We'd have to get to like the 12, 13 degree range after Wednesday if we wanted to set records. It's still going to be way above average, but not quite record setting to close the week. Highs in the 5 degree range Friday, Saturday. Another chance of some rain Sunday, and then a little bit of a cool down early next week as temperatures get back closer to zero for daytime highs by Monday and Tuesday. In the short term, though, the heat streak continues with temperatures close to record-setting highs tomorrow afternoon. That is your forecast.
Ice Castles Edmonton is now closed for the season, a few weeks earlier than anticipated. The forecast shows we're in for several days above zero. The Ice Castle opened just after Christmas and dealt with extreme cold during construction. The company had originally told us it expected to stay open until late February, weather permitting. Two sisters have taken charge as West Edmonton Mall mayors. CTV's Uncashed explains.
I want this one. Okay, I want this one.
Adley and Addison Urachek started their day at Build-A-Bear Workshop, the beginning of a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Build-A-Bear was super nice. I got a cat, and it was super fun.
The 9-year-old Urachek twins have been elected mayors of the mall. The pair spent the day taking advantage of West Edmonton Mall's attractions before closing out the day with a sleepover at Fantasyland Hotel. They were also treated to a $1,500 shopping spree.
I like all their stores, but the two I love the most is Lululemon and Sephora.
The twins were picked in part because of their medical histories with the Stollery Children's Hospital.
Our journey with the Stollery has been a long one. When Addison was first born, she was a baby that we didn't have really any answers to. She would turn blue, stop breathing at some points, and fast forward a few months, she ended up having open heart surgery at 14 months for atrial septal defect.
Addison has visited the Stollery 6 times. Her sister Adley has had similar challenges living with a heart murmur.
You don't think about any of the medical journey. You just get to have a day where you have fun. You forget about everything. You get to just be a kid and not worry about your diagnosis.
What really secured the mayor's new titles is all the Urachek family has done to give back to the Stollery.
They've been helping us for years with our Mighty Millions lottery, their fundraising in their schools. They've been ambassadors at our Snowflake Gala. They're on Radiothon. Like they and their whole family are just huge advocates.
The event is part of the Stollery's No Bounds campaign, aiming to raise $1 billion for a standalone hospital. Uncashed, CTV News, Edmonton.
All right, a much more fun experience for those girls getting to visit the mall than it is visiting the Stollery. That's all the time we have tonight. Thank you for tuning in and have a good rest of your night.